Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Sai. Shalom Aleichem. This is Yehuda 11. The program is 11 that are heard each and every Thursday evening on 6:20 a.m. radio in New York. It can also be heard on our hotline, and we'll give you that number, as well as it's archived on the YouTube channel Levin, Levin, at the number 11, and it's often picked up by Hefgewelt. Rabbi said we have a very, very full program this evening in no particular order. One of the major topics is going to be Rav Miller and I, Zechroinus, remembering Rav Miller and my shaykhus with him, telling some interesting episodes that I had with him. But first, I would like to give you an update, please. This is an update. People don't understand why I'm still talking about it. I'm talking about it because she's a clear and present danger, and even if she loses in ignominious defeat, she might go on and try to run again. I'm holding this up. You really can't see this, but this is my cell phone, and I'm reading to you what somebody sent me. This is from her Twitter account. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, and gender community. Too many of our youth suffer in silence. Yehuda 11, a politician and Republican pundit who has run for every office in New York and lost dismally every time, can write all the articles he wants. I'm here for the actual people. Okay, this is what the Rabbanim are ignoring. Not one Rav has come out and said anything whatsoever about this woman. So people say, listen, she was endorsed. Her opponent is endorsed by Dov Heikind, by Josh Melman's Flatbush Community Council, whatever, and by other officials, and therefore we're not taking it seriously. You're not being gyrus, huh? My Rabbi say that's an absolute rank stupidity, and that's not an excuse for inactivity. The Frum community, its rabbinate and its askonim have a long, blemished history of not being active on the things that they should be active on. What do I mean? Did you ever hear of Abraham Lincoln? Check it out. Do you know how many races Abraham Lincoln lost before he had his first win? And eventually, he rose to be president of the United States. I'd like to give you l'chaim b'rchato Adonai Eloheinu b'chol olam shehakol niyeh b'dvorei. L'chaim tovim l'shalom l'ksiv chesima tova. So, my dear friends, this is just the latest. What does he keep on saying it for? What does he keep on saying it for? Because number one, it's not over until it's over. And guess what? She'll probably lose, not for sure, but even if she loses on election day, does that mean she's going to stop? She's not going to stop. She's very, very ambitious, and she doesn't care, and she's going to try again and again. And if she runs for city council, if the Chaim Deutsch and Flatbush is out, who knows? By then, there's a chance she might win something. So if the Rabbanim and the Rebbitzins were doing their job and speaking out against this, and the damage that it's doing to our children already for several years, with the Michigassen, then you say, Yehuda 11, what are you doing? But if nobody is saying a word, and they haven't said for years, and Rabbi Mizrahi actually, Yosef Mizrahi actually made a video with her, an interview. So this is a terrible sakana. So I see this as my job assignment from Rav Miller to talk about these kinds of things. Rabbi Sai, we have an election coming up. Before I get to Rav Miller, I want to give a great yashar koach to the Jewish press that I'm holding up. I said a crazy thing, but it's not so crazy. I said that if a person is poor and they can't afford a subscription to the Jewish press, it could be that instead of getting Yatera Hamadia that are often full of bubble mices but do not deal with morality, the Jewish press does. It could even be, I feel personally, that a person is not going to get an Avera if they take mice money. Why? Because if the Jewish press sees they get subscriptions from the Fruma, they'll continue. If they see not, and they see there's no appreciation, so then they might not continue. And that would be tragic. Let's now see what the Jewish press did about endorsements. They did some very not good things, but they did also some very good things. The Jewish press wrote The Jewish press wrote that they're not endorsing anyone for governor because they wrote that the foolishness that Cuomo was doing in fighting with Nixon, and they quoted Cynthia Nixon, the lesbian former TV star, who's not Jewish, but maybe her partner is, because they daven in congregation Beit Simchat Torah, the largest homosexual synagogue in Greenwich Village, with the Poisek, Fegele Mushchosovitz, formerly known as Mike Moskowitz, but we gave him a Kriya Shema Fegele because he pushes transgender agenda, Mushchosovitz instead of Moskowitz, because there were people in the Chazal who were Dorish Shemos. Okay, so we have to be Dorish Shemos and give him the Kriya Shem what he deserves. So she, quote unquote, attends that. And there's another guy, Brad Hoylwell. He is the assemblyman of Greenwich Village. People think he's Jewish. His partner takes him and also schleps him to the temple, Beit Simchat Torah. So the Poisek, he has very chashuva mispalim there. This guy Holyfield is so bad that he makes his predecessor, Tom Dwayne, who was an out AIDS positive homosexual, look like a tzaddik compared to him. He's the brains behind the sister's suicide. He convinced Diane Savino, who Baruch Hashem, the Jewish press did not endorse, and nobody should vote for these people. He probably had a big hashpah on her introducing assisted suicide. Rabbi, see, assisted suicide is coming to New York. I'm telling you, it's getting worse and worse, and people don't understand. When they have a mentality of assisted suicide, and our cholim or our zakenim will be in hospitals, including Maimonides, with this mentality, you have no idea how it's going to affect, trickle down, how it's going to affect dealing with sick people or old people when there's such a mentality. The Jewish press did endorse, unfortunately, they endorsed different people. And I want to tell you, some of the people that they endorsed support, sponsor, assisted suicide. Right here, my assemblywoman is a Haitian woman by the name of Rodney Bichette or something like that. And she's endorsed. She has a homosexual flag sitting on her desk. She votes for every single homosexual bill. And she's bad news, not because she really philosophically thinks like that. I want to give you some background. A few years ago, when she was first coming in, she lost. Once she lost going up against Rhoda Jacobs, and once she lost in a four-way race, and then she won. Now, at the time, there was a former politically astute young man who spoke to her and said, listen, if you come out against this Mishkav Zachar marriage and stuff like that, then you can unite the 10 or 15 or 20% or whatever it is, the 10% of the Fruma community, Jewish community in your district, and that could help put you over the top. She was thinking about it. Now, if Chatzkel Bennett, instead of writing the treif of garbage that he just wrote in Hamadiyah, very strong, yeah, I'm saying very strong, and I'll explain to you. If all these people, the Josh Melmans, were endorsing all kinds of lowlifes, including Governor Cuomo, who made Kaisvin Ksubal Zachar. I want to ask a question. 50 Rabbanim signed a letter a year or two ago, you're not allowed to vote for anybody who supports assisted suicide. And Kal V'Chomer, Kaisvin Ksubal Zachar, and all the rest of the schmutz. So I want to ask you a question. Which Gedolim are willing to sign a paper, put in an ad? We authorize the Josh Melmans, we authorize the Chatzkel Bennett's, we also authorize that guy Goldberg, whatever his name is, the wealthy guy who has the program, Motzei Shabbos, who, I'm forgetting his name, I'm having another senior moment. All these people who push all these schmutz yaks at us and tell us we have to go to vote. Which Gadol is going to say, don't worry, mein Kind, of mine places, you can vote for Governor Cuomo, who made Kaisvin Ksubal Zachar, and was responsible that it spread throughout the United States, and the Supreme Court made it into law, constitutional law after Lepume. You're going to go vote for Cuomo now? And they tell you these ridiculous stories that Cynthia Nixon, oh, give out. Cynthia Nixon's going to be so terrible, so progressive, so liberal. Cuomo is moving to the left of who knows what. And the Jewish press refused to endorse Cuomo. because they noticed that it's all about beating up on Trump. It's all about moving super to the left. And I told you, and I'll tell you again and again, Cuomo's doing this because he has to beat Cynthia Nixon convincingly, or he can forget about any hopes of running for president. That's what it's about. And you know who's helping him in this snide, tricky way? Obviously, who's helping him is the Hasidic papers who endorsed Cuomo when he went to the Satmar Rebbe. That's obvious. Asid litin es hadin, Rabbi Say. Asid litin es hadin. I'm not saying this in a negative way. If you take this glass and you spill it out, it's going to spill. If you go and you kushach with these people, and the Satmar Rebbe didn't say one word to him about morality. In an edel way, he could have said, Mr. Governor, we're trying to raise children here. Assisted suicide, Mr. Governor. We're scared of what it's going to do in the hospital, how many plugs are going to be built. Mr. Governor, the extreme abortion bill that you want to say that decriminalizes a doctor who doesn't provide medical care for a baby that survived a botched abortion, Mr. Governor, this is Ritzicha. Gar nicht hat nicht gesagt. And everybody's schweiging. The Makam Shi is Chil Hashem in Cholken Kavod L'Rav. It's my pleasure, my privilege to say this. This should be my Gehenna for saying this. What are these Rabbanim going to say? It's coming up to Yom Neroyim. So Chatzkel Bennett can always depend on good old Chatzkel, little tricky boy. Let's see if we can find this for you here. He wrote in Hamidiyah, he wrote an op-ed piece. And he writes an op-ed piece. Okay. Listen to this op-ed piece. In Hamidiyah, on September the 4th, about Simcha Felder, we got to come out because everybody's watching Simcha Felder, and we got to come out for him. And we have to come out for Simcha Felder. He's less than perfect. We have to come out for him. He's certainly done a lot of good things also. Now, this is what he writes. Being remiss in civic duty is inexcusable in the best of times. He's giving drushes. We have to go out. We have to vote. How can we make our feelings known, our voices heard at the highest and lowest levels of government? He writes, the Gedolim said, you have to shakar today. For Moshe Feinstein, who said, L'malis es ha'ulam shel ha'gay rights, a city hall, kol yemei ahim shel gay rights, la'ashpia la politicians, l'tzbaya neged, against the bill and not to vote absent. Rav Moshe said, L'haris goli l'chol ha'am sh'amasam soni teyeva. Will Chatzkel Bennett and the rest of his joking sycophant chanfonim askonim, will they tell us that Rav Moshe would have wanted us to vote for the lowlifes? Really? Really? Sheker v'chazov. Who's taking achrayas? You think it's a hefgevelt? The Rebbeinu Shalom is not going to hold somebody responsible. He's going to hold the Rabbanim responsible for being quiet. And the Rabbanim behind these organizations, they're going to have to give din v'cheshbon, Rabbi Say. We're so far down the road of schmutz, of immorality, that a flatbush mama, a prutza, in so many ways, can go and she can continue with Azus, like I just read you, to push the Mishkav Zachor agenda. She could prance all around with transgenders. Why? Because the Rabbanim are shtum, they're quiet. The Rebbitzins, nobody says a word. The tumah is so thick. The wall, the chaymer is so thick, you can cut it with a knife. Who's running the asylum? The juveniles, the insane people. Where are our leaders? Where are Rabbanim? So Chatzkel Besser writes, listen to what he writes. We have to come out. Now here he gets tricky. Simcha is being challenged by progressive Democrat Blake Morris, and it'll turn over everything we have. Simcha has been a fearless fighter. Mr. Morris is being supported by the Cynthia Nixon for governor. Listen, she's saying the same chevra who supports Cynthia Nixon. Okay, and Zephyr Teach Out. So what is he doing? This is the snake. I'm calling Chatzkel Bennett before Rosh Hashanah a snake, and I'm saying Asidein Litein Es Hadin, Osid Litein Es Hadin. All of you, Chaver, all of you are skanim, with your Hanifa, with your Lekarai. He's snake Netzustel, the people against, what's his name? Simcha Felder are making common cause, Blake Morris, or whatever his name is, are making common cause with Cynthia Nixon, and Zephyr Teach Out, the other ultra-liberal who's probably anti-Semitic, who's running for Attorney General. What's the implication? When I go into the booth, I have to make sure that Cynthia Nixon doesn't get in. Oh, Gewalt, Hashem needs me. So I'm going to vote for Cuomo. That's after he made Kaisvin Ksuva L'Zoch in the most arrogant way. After he introduces himself the most vicious pro-abortion bill, which is Ritzicha Mamish. Even when the baby is born. Who even the Jewish press found a reason not to endorse him. That he said, Cynthia Nixon said, when are you going to stop lying? So Cuomo answered, when are you going to stop lying? When you do. So the Jewish press wrote, so you see, Cuomo's a liar. Ugh, fair. Rabbi Sai, you want Yeshuas for your children. You want them to grow up without the schmutz and the garbage. You got to not sit on your hands. You got to go out and vote, yeah? Much better to sit on your hands. But if you're going to go out and vote, chas v'sholem to vote for any Democrat, all the Democrats are becheskas garbage. Do not vote in the primary. And some are worse than others. Some are schrecklich and worse than others. They're all garbage. There might be one person in the 5 towns, and we'll see near election day if he wins, that he hasn't come out for all the schmutz. And the Republican there has. But the Jewish press has endorsed Jeff Klein. It didn't endorse Savino, but it endorsed, I forget these other ladies, these other people from the small Democratic group, the breakaway group of state senators who Simcha was caucusing with. And it made it possible that they would go with the Republicans, and that's what it made possible to hold up a lot of garbage. But now they've come back into the Democratic fold, and they don't deserve to Jeff Klein. These people are terrible. They don't deserve. I'm begging you, Klal Yisrael. I'm telling you, you don't even need the Gedolim of Yesdiya for this. You don't need the Rav Yankovs and the Rav Moshes and other Gedolei Yisrael. You don't need the many Kol Kairos of Rabbonim. It's Pashit. It's Pashit. Think. I'm begging you, do not be metame your hands to vote for lowlifes. If you want, go in and push the lever and vote for nobody. Or go in and write Letitia James. She stands for all kinds of garbage. I don't care if the other ones are worse. Don't you be Gotz Fazarger. Leave it alone. I'll touch this Yad Chaliyah in Rosh Aliyah said Chamas, do not lift your hands to pull down a lever for a Russia to be a false testimony. It's corruption. All of these leckers. When I ran against Solars, everybody said, oh, you're going to turn them over. It's going to be Erlach. Let there be a big turnout and let them vote nothing. Pull the lever and vote nothing. So you know what? The politicians will know. And then let the Chaskel Bennett's, Naskonim, and the sycophants, and the Friedlanders, and the Leckers, and the Simcha Eichensteins, the next assemblyman, all of the Leckers, let them go there and say, Governor Cuomo, the natives are getting restless. Next time they might vote about who knows who. Cuomo needed us. If Cuomo doesn't get us this time, if nobody in Satmar, in Monroe, in Muncie, all over New York State doesn't vote for him, and Nixon gets enough, he'll win. But he won't at least be able to be president. He won't be able to run for president. That would be a mitzvah gedolah. Don't you worry about the attorney general. You leave it up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ksiv Tova. My Rabbi say, the Divrei Torah, the Divrei Hashkafa on this program should be a zchus for Yisrael Avram, the Tzaddik Hador, Shenu Rachel, the Tzchen Rebbe Shav, Refuah Shalema B'toich Sha'ar Chayil Yisrael, Refuah Sanefesh, Rebbeinu Shalom. When you lift up the Sklerner Rebbe and give him a refuah, you're sending the Malach Refoil. Send the Malach Refoil for so many of us that need refuahs and Yeshuas. Please, Rosh Hashanah is early this year. But we believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you can help people who are sick, who are broken, who are hurt. Wherever our boys say. We talked about the voting. I'm very happy the Jewish press did something else. I'm holding it up to you. It's also a Jewish press online. Okay? This is an op-ed piece. An op-ed piece written on page 10 of the Jewish Press, Flatbush Girl meeting by yours truly. For those of you who go to my WhatsApp, you could see it on my, you could see the link on my WhatsApp, or you can go to Jewish Press Online if you go on the internet. I'm not advising anybody who doesn't go to go. But it's become officially kosher because Aguda that was so behind fighting the internet, all of a sudden they were allowed to do it, and they're allowed to tweet and schmeet and chanfa and shmanfa on the internet and on the cyberspace. So if they can do it, then Yehuda Levin has to do it. My heter is Rav Miller said that even in Chalamoid Sukkos, you're allowed to push Jews for morality stuff. Exactly about voting and against immorality, exactly the things that I talk about. Because I had a Rebbe Rabbi say. Now, let's move right along. Let's move right along. Now, I told you, Fegel Mishchosovitz is the Poisik. He's a scholar in residence, the Poisik of Beit Simchat Torah. He just wrote a disgusting article using Torah and everything and mixing it up and admixture at Cholent to try to push sensitivity. The Torah is being sensitive to people who have transgender identifications, etc. Meanwhile, Brown University, it's certainly not a hotbed of radical right, came out with a study, an exhaustive study by a woman named Professor Dr. Littman. They found out that the teenagers, that there's a tremendous rise in the amount of teenagers who want to transgender. They want to have operations to turn from male to female, from female to male. That Allah Shvatz Yo, you hear? This is the statistics. The statistics are 87% of teens interested in being involved in transgenderism. They belong to groups that promote the schmutz, and they go on the internet. You understand? It's a societal, it's a social thing. They machazik each other, and they get it. And this Flatbush mama, Afra Lepume, what she's doing, running around in Klal Yisrael with a transgender and writing on her tweets, we have to have a transgender committee, man. And all this stuff that I just read to you. You don't understand why? It's yesterday's news, really? Do you understand the corruption of the Ratgut that has seeped into Klal Yisrael? That's what she represents. She's not going away. As Avia Himachaleles. Her and Stein, the Fultichana Anikel that runs around and that's being featured by the non-Jews, by the militant transgender Alavi and the homosexuals. He gets money all over. He speaks all over and everything else. They bring him into our community to Washington till Yadayim on the video with Flatbush Mama. They talk about chatzitzas, rings, washing. They make a mockery out of Yiddishkeit. There's no question that the more the schmutz is pushed, the more it has hashpah on gullible, malleable people, and that's what's going on. Hashem showing you that she runs around with the first Hasidic transgender. It's going to get worse and worse. More and more whack jobs are going to do this kind of stuff. And Chatzkel Bennett and company and Josh Melman and the Fratbus Kojo with the andere Chanfonim from Satmar and the Yid and everywhere else. They're fiddling. They're supporting these same Rishayim Arurim. The politicians doing all this kind of stuff. You understand? She is not finished. She's not going away. I will continue to push and scream. Rabbi say, I'm having nachas from this. I put out videos, 30 to 50, 60, 70% of Klal Yisrael say, who's this maniac? Who's this Meshugana? They make fun of me. They make fun of my family. They bring up private family issues. They accuse me of Ashes Ish. They accuse me of Mishkav Zocha. It's no, I'm not getting paid for it. If anything, I have hitzos from it. I believe neder as long as Hashem gives me a last ounce of koyach, and as long as I don't max out on my credit cards, believe neder, I will continue. I will continue to speak out. They won't stop me, no matter what comments they make about me, my family, my children, my relationships, my finances, my health. It's in fact gar nicht helfen. I'm here for the duration, and I'm transparent. And I will continue to do exactly what I've been doing for the last 40 years at the behest of various and direction of various rabbeim. You know that they started a WhatsApp site tonight. I'm taping this Wednesday night. They started a WhatsApp site, a guy Shulam Gross or something like that, a guy named Gross, something, Shulam, whatever his name is, called Stop the Effing Levin. That's the name of the site, the Stop the Effing Levin. And they started it near to midnight or 11 o'clock, and they had hundreds of people coming on and off, etc., etc. And another lowlife, after writing me a whole letter of apology, and he's choshev, and he's this and he's that, he called up a person in Pakistan, and he told the person in Pakistan that my name is Jennifer Levin, and that I'm a porn star, and that I'm interested in him. It's a medical student in Pakistan. So the guy calls me up. When I explained to him I'm a religious Jew, so he gave me the number of the Oisra of Moshe Chaim, or Chaim Moshe Friedman, who goes by the name of J. Doe. He gave me his number. He showed me a screenshot that he's the one who's calling porn people here to try to make hashkasa, to try to chep me, stop me. And he's writing all kinds of personal things about me, and he thinks that that's going to stop me. And his friend Pinny, I'll out him also. I'm not nishtaim from these people. They're terrible, terrible what they're doing. They're late sunnis. They cool off, and we won't be stopped. We will continue. The agenda continues full steam ahead, Rabbi Say. I want to tell you something. People don't seem to understand. They think we take a vote count on how many people like Yehuda Levin, how many people dislike him, and that's kaveh what the emes is. I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. B'chlal. As a matter of fact, if the masses were to start to say, Gevaldik Yehuda Levin, wonderful, I would start to get scared, because it's never happened. It doesn't happen in history. Moshe Rabbeinu in the Dardeya, the Dar that received the Torah, the Dar v'Yitzias Mitzrayim, he said, Oy ma'at v'yiskaluni, a little more, they're going to stone me. Constant tension between Moshe Rabbeinu and Klal Yisrael. The Nevi'im, persecuted, thrown into pits, beaten, killed, reviled. Pinchas, the first one to stand up against the immorality. He got down and dirty. He went into the tent where they were fornicating. Ooh, how did he do it? It's not sneers, it's this. He's speaking garbage, he's doing. And what did they do? The whole crowd of Shimon. They made chayzik of him. Look at him. And Ovid Avodah Zarah, his grandfather was. And he's going to tell us what to do. He's going to say, amazing, who's Yehuda Levin? 200 Rabbanim and Rebbetzins, Rosh Yeshivas and Rebbes, and seminary teachers are quiet on Flatbush Mama. And who's Yehuda Levin? So right away, 25% of Klal Yisrael out the window. Look, he's judgmental. He's mean. He makes fun of the poor Weibelish. He's a fruma Yevaibela. It's a nusa the Arayas. She's pushing the Arayas agenda. And it's a kal v'choima. If you can make fun, the Gemara says, of Avodah Zarah, and the Gemara says Avodah Zarah was only practiced by the Jews by Yakumu l'sachek by the Chet Egel in order to permit them l'sachek for Arayas. So it's a kal v'choim, you're allowed to make listenus of the Arayas. And this woman is single-handedly pushing such an Arayas agenda that when she says we have to dialogue with the gays, lesbians, queers, transgendered, and off the derech, guess what? She gets out of 38,000 people, 1,630 likes. And a part of the people who listen to her are pubescent teenagers, pre-pubescent elementary school kids, and young Weibelich who don't have seichel, who haven't daven atachayim and lodem das, and half the Hirishon where they go out with the tichel in Flatbush when they go shopping at Pomegranate. I'm trying to win popularity contests with these people. I'm trying to give the voiceless who feel crushed, who feel it's over, who feel it's a brach, and where are the Rabbanim to lead us? Why aren't the Askanim speaking up for morality? If the Askanim would have gotten together with this Rodney Bichette, the 45th district at the beginning, they would say, we're going to deliver to you 10% or 15% of the district Orthodox Jewish votes as a block. They could have been kind to her. When was the last time they tried to do such a thing? A nechtige tag. Chatzkel Bender is being meramis to you. What Josh Melman said in his Flatbush thing, Beferish, and what Satman said, Beferish, kiss up to Cuomo, kiss the ring for a few bucks. You know what Rodney Bissett said to this Bocher when he spoke to her about morality? She said, in my experience as a district leader, all the Jewish community is interested in is a bigger piece of the pie. Chilul Hashem, Geld über Gott. I won't stop talking about it as long as Hashem gives me koyach b'lineda until my dying day. I'll be conscious. I'll remind people I'm not nishtoimim. Not nishtoimim. Rabbi Say. We're around halfway through the program, and I haven't spoken about Rav Miller yet. I want you to know, Chazdei Hashem, I started this WhatsApp 3.5 weeks ago. It's not even 3.5 weeks. And Baruch Hashem, from that, I developed into doing parodies, and I developed into making videos, and the videos are going out, and people even in Eretz Yisrael have heard about it. There are some people in Eretz Yisrael who are listening to my hotline. They're listening to the hotline. I want to give the hotline number, please, if you can get a pen. I'd like to give the hotline number where things are archived. And the hotline number is 641-715-3900. Again, 641-715-3900. And then you have to press extension 247656. 247656. Again, the hotline is 641. All programs are archived. 641-715-3900. And the extension is 247656. Spread the word. The biggest thing you could do is, if you see my videos and you do go on the internet, if you see my WhatsApp, my posts, and you can spread more people on your social media contacts. I don't care if they curse me out. I care that they should just pronounce the name right. It's Yehuda Levin. We're standing up for the way the Gedolim of yesteryear. And we're not trying to be kind of majority. I'm not capable of doing that. There are Rabbanim I've given up in Gansen. They don't talk about these things. They'll only use it. Chaskel Bennett will only use it. It's an indirect way. Simcha Felde, he'll give a shtick, a little something about morality. And then the same breath will say that the same people who are supporting Cynthia Nixon and Teach Out and everything else. So I've had the implication is you're supposed to vote for Cuomo. Whoever votes for Cuomo at this late stage in the devolving culture, Rabbi say, I'm telling you and spread the word. Whoever votes for any Democrat, the Becheskes trait from the Republicans is not much better. You have to do research. But the Democrats, it's a waste of time. They're evil, shall be evil, up and down. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. It's my buck. That's what I've got to do. I've got to cry out in the middle of the city like Mordechai. He was also crying out alone. Remember what people were saying about Mordechai? He's checking with the Malchus, what's going to be in Achashverosh made a party about and this and that. Am I comparing myself to this? The Wiffleheads, the Arabs are going to say, look at Levin. He has delusions of Moshe, Pinchas, Mordechai. Oh, so you mean when the Rambam says, based on the Chazal, that a chayiv, a person to say, maybe even every day, Mosai Yagia, Maisei, Lemaisei, Avoisei, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. The Rambam saying that some plut should compare themselves, should aspire to emulate Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Oh, so you see, there is such a thing. The problem is that Yehuda Levin is like Muhammad Ali, the boxer who was once called Cassius Clay. He had a saying when he fought with Sonny Liston, he won the championship back in the early 60s, in the mid-60s, or late 60s, after he was Olympian boxing champion. Muhammad Ali coined many good phrases. He said, float like a butterfly, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Float like a butterfly means, can you chop a butterfly? He floats all over. But when he hits hard, sting like a bee. Hard. And the famous saying of boxing, you can't lay a glove on me. And that's the fact. When somebody will out-argue, out-debate, and explain the other Torah sources, fine. What Rav is going to take achrayas for all the corruptions going on? And guess what? All the ashkosa and the sycophancy and telling the people to vote, guess what? You think they're going to be potter for being quiet, and letting all the inmates run the asylum? You think they're going to be potter? Whether it's Lubavitch, Satmar, Agudas Yisrael, Bobov, you name it. You think they're going to be potter? I wish them the best. I don't come to their kapsula. But I know the Kabbalahs that I got from my Rabbeim. Kashav Rav, Debetzin Rosh Mitzion Bahalacha, Rav Avram Leitner. I've got the real stuff. And they can't get away with this. What did Rabbi say? Rav Miller. This is how I met him. It was dusk. It was in October. Somebody came over to me. Excuse me, sir, read this sign on the that was hanging on 13th Avenue, a little sign, a little settle. So I had to read about gay rights and going to protest City Hall. I didn't even know I was 24 years old. It was a half a year before I got married. 3/4 of a year before I got married. I didn't even know what abortion and Mishkav Zacha gay rights was. I was an American boy. I wasn't particularly sheltered. But in 1978, we just didn't talk about it. We didn't know what it was. We should have known. Rav Moshe knew about it in 1977 when this same person walked off the street and told him that they're making the first bill like that in Florida. Rav Moshe got involved. Why didn't we know? Whose fault is it? You know whose fault it is? It's Agudas Yisrael. Because officially, Agudas is taking care of everything, and they're dealing with morality, and for good of this. I hold Agudas responsible that we weren't told. And why? Because of the errant, fallacious, misproven Rabbi Sherer Zatzal doctrine, which I've spoken about so many times before. I'll keep on hammering away at it. We should have known about this way back when. Before the snowball gathered so much snow with such velocity rolling down the mountain into the valleys of Sodom and Amorah. We should have been told. We should have been taught. We should have been instructed. And so it went in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, the same Chazarai. And I was a Kol B'Midbar speaking out on these things. And now look, who can say we were right? Look what's happening now. More and more, this squeeze goes. In Buffalo, the powerful Catholic diocese had to got out of the adoption business, the orphanage business, because they were told that they have to make adoptions for homosexual couples, and it's against their religion. Toisvis, it's a kal v'chomer, abortion. How do we know it's usher? Is there anything that is permitted, that is prohibited for a Gentile and permitted for a Jew? Now, even though the Paiskim, the Farshim, asking the Toisvis, yes, this and that, doesn't matter. The philosophy is, if the Jews of the Gentiles are standing up and fighting it, they're fighting it. Hundreds of millions around the world are giving charity and fighting immorality and abortion on demand. And we're schweiging, we're busy shaking hands with the Satan Rebbe, shaking hands with Kong when he can't say a word. He's not going to have to give a dimmer cheshbon. What do you think Rav Yolish would say? Rav Yolish stood at the armory one year and he said that you shouldn't put yourself under the thumb. You shouldn't take government funding. You shouldn't put yourself under the thumb in Montreal. You're going to have problems. The government and the Askana was standing behind them, smirking to themselves. They were laughing at Rabbeinu Yoel. And now, the Rebbe, Doris afterwards, his great nephew, is doing this kind of thing. And you think they're doing any better than the other one in Monroe? They're not voting for Mamzer and for hilarious. Don't fool yourself. It's all over. But when they finish with the big guys, like in Buffalo with the Catholics, and they want to come to us to make us bake their birthday cakes, their celebration, their wedding cakes, that guy is won in the Supreme Court, and they reversed the fine of $154,000, and now they're chepping him again in Colorado. That tzaddik, that Gentile tzaddik, we have to be ashamed from him. Hashem is trying to wake us up. The same way he sends Arab ladies that live near the Jewish neighborhoods, and they go with their burqas, with their longer begodim, and you can't see the contours of anything of their body, even if they're standing in front of you on the line of the bank. And then you have the flatbush mama that ain't pesach per mitzvah safe, pushing the envelope with the shmutz, and giving drushes, cheeseburgers, patriarchy. You know what? There's the most powerful homosexual group that gives endorsements to candidates who run in New York City. It's called Stonewall Democrats. You know what they ask in the questionnaire? They ask, do you, the candidate, believe that public schools should not rent space on the weekends or whatever in downtime to religious institutions that are homophobic? That means when they have their way, they won't be able to go and have a Shabbos Tshuva Joshua or another event at Edward R. Murrow High School in Flatbush. That's what's being pushed. But Chatzkel Bennett is having you vote for the same Mamzerim who fill out these forms for Stonewall and get their endorsements. Wait, you'll just see. You will see, Rabbi Say, when the noose will get tighter and tighter. If the Republicans lose the state Senate now, There are pictures we say that in 5 years it'll be impossible to live here in New York. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but it'll be schrecklich. There's moves to legalize prostitution. You have no idea how much the Satan in the Sahara is growing and growing. And it could be that for me, you're going to have to move into these places, these out of town, in these states where still the Bible Belt, where there's a lot of religious Christians, and not be able to live in the metropolitan metropolises like New York and New York State with all the schmutz. Now, anyhow, to get back to Rav Miller. So this fellow, after he got my phone number, he called me up one day, Motzi Shabbos, and he said, tomorrow a group is going to ask the outgoing Governor Meldrum Thompson to form a national morality organization. Nope. I said, what do you want from me? I'm not a rabbi, I'm a rabbinical student. Do you know Rabbi Avigdor Miller? He said, if he tells you to go, will you go? I was laughing. I said, yeah. He said, go to him tomorrow, say Michael sent you. I went to a Miller after a shir Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, 10:30. Ooh, your yeshiva bracha, shalom aleichem, very respectful. Ooh, Michael sent you. I was shocked. I said, Rav Miller, I have to go? I was sure he would say, no, it's not your job. You're not skilled. You don't know. You're yeshiva bracha, stay and learn. No. You should go. He had me closing the sefer to go. Maybe I was a big masmid. I wasn't, but maybe I was. He said, new generation has to do it, and you go. And he gave me half the money because he was teaching me that he won't be around. I got to take my own money and I got to do it. I got to pay for this radio program till my last pennies. That's exactly what I'm doing. It's on a credit card. Almost $10,000, Rabbi said. Is anybody helping? It's a finster gullus. You know how many millionaires there are? You know how many Satma Kanoim there are? You know how many Lubavitches there are that have a gefühl? Does anybody help me? I'm going to go Pesach al Psochim. I'm going to go beg to give me $8. I'm not going to do it. Hashem has to help. Hashem doesn't want me to do it. The cholent goes according to the guests. If I am what I am, I'm low, I'm offensive, my manner it ribes, it grates some people the wrong way. Get better people than me to do it. I'm a Levi, I'm a Kanoi. Find somebody else. Let some other quote-unquote ass can do it. Some other ash can. Let them do it. You see, I'm a little tense. I'm a little frustrated. Absolutely, I am. Look at this. Who would dream that a paskunia like this can go around? You understand? And their complaint is not on her. She's a good Bible. She's trying to make a living. They don't care what she's supporting. Their complaint is on me. I'm chapping with her. I'm the bad person. I can care less. But it's a terrible reflection on Klal Yisrael and the lessons that our Rabbanim and our teachers are teaching us about morality. Now, another thing with Rav Miller. I once went to Rav Miller, and I said to him, people are voting for the politicians, they're voting for the schmutz, they're voting for the garbage, the politicians are coming to yeshivas and love malchus, they're getting honored, got to do something. He says, what do you suggest? I said, we have to go to a Moshe. We have to tell him all about this legislation, all about what's happening, and ask him, you're allowed to chant for them, support them, honor them, pay money for them, or anything else. He said, excellent, go do it. I said, Rav Miller, I'm 30-something, young 30s, very young 30s. Rav Moshe is not going to reckon with me. This is something you send me all over. You sent me to Washington, you sent me on TV, you sent me to Congress, everything else, and I do it. This is something you have to do, Rav Miller. You're the Murad Astra. You're the Murad Shmeitzer. Rav Miller will respect you, Rav Moshe. He said, I'm not going. He didn't like to go anyplace. He was very reticent. He was very withdrawn. He was very shy, so to speak, Rav Miller. So I told him, I was a brash young man. I said, I do what I can do. What I can't do, you want me to do. So if it's not important enough for you, Rav Miller, that I can't go, then forget about it. So he says, he thought for a minute, he says, okay, make the appointment. But I called Rav Mordechai Tamla. I didn't know how to make the appointment. So I called Rav Mordechai Tamla to make an appointment for Rav Avigdor Miller with Rav Moshe, and he asked me what's the subject matter, and I was stupid enough to tell him. So he made sure to say the sick, to say this, you send him a letter, he'll respond halach l'maisa. But because I went to Rav Miller, at least I got halfway there. Rav Moshe gave a letter on Agudas Rabbanim stationery, as I've spoken in past radio programs. L'malas Sasulim Kol Yemei hearings. L'haris Goli L'chala Amin Shamasim Shani Te'eva. He was a good old-fashioned hater in Moshe, he was. Yeah. He didn't know about David Lichtenstein's views about hate. Yeah. If David Lichtenstein would have been putting him on the headlines radio, Moshe, he would have said, oh, Moshe, so you hold maybe like Levin, that it's better a person should take chemicals better than he should be Moshe Zerel of Atola, or he should do Ashes Ish, or he should do Mishkav Zacha. Maybe he should take chemicals. Moshe, you hold like that. So then Lichtenstein, the bright person, should ask him the same thing he asked me a few times when he cut and pasted me in the debate. So maybe you hold somebody who's Moshe Zerel, we should cut off his hand, and somebody speaks Lashon, we should cut off his tongue. That was very intelligent what David Lichtenstein says. Listen, I want to tell you something. I spoke to a high official of the Jewish press, and I said, I'm challenging David Lichtenstein, the Groise Knaka, who has a fascinatingly interesting radio program, but sometimes his liberal slip, his progressiveness is sometimes showing from under his dress, if you'll excuse me. And I don't have the whole Tsevis, the whole crew that picks out the Myra McCoymus and does everything for him, like Daniel Neustadt's son does for him. I don't have that. I just have little old me. I'm challenging David Lichtenstein to a live debate sponsored in front of the Jewish press with a live audience that would be videoed, where he can't cut, snip, and paste me and edit me like he does with me and certain other rabbis or stuff that he doesn't like because he has a liberal agenda. So I'm challenging David Lichtenstein. And I gave this message over to a high official in the Jewish press. Let's see, they said they would mention it to him. And I will report to you if David Lichtenstein responds or he chickens out. I will let you know. Because I'm ready to debate him in front of a live audience where he can't make any of those mishigasim. Anyhow, so one time, Rav Miller stood up and he said, it was Erev Shavuos, Thursday night, Shavuos was Friday night. He said, Rav Levine has an important announcement to make, and I invited people to come down to protest at City Hall because they were about to pass a Mishkav Zacha rights bill. Another time, I had a Maisa with Rav Miller, which I put recently in a video, but maybe many of you didn't hear it, so I'll say it over. I had borrowed $500 in the 1980s. It was a lot of money. $500 from the Gemach, from the Kramer Gemach, from people who learned at least a half a day in the Mir Yeshiva, the Kramer brothers, very funny people. And I managed to pay back $175, but I was 325 short, and I didn't know how I was going to pay it back. That was a lot of money in the 1980s. All of a sudden, my phone rings. On Monday morning, the day I was due to pay up, and I hear a voice say, hello, Miller. I say, what? Hello, Miller. I realized he didn't want to say Rabbi Miller. He didn't want to say Rav Miller. He didn't want to say Avigdor Miller. She said, hello, Miller. Come, I want to see you today right after my shurim. When I came over, he stood with me by the door of his shul. I made this video of this, and he said, we've been meaning to thank you for what you've done. He took an envelope, stuck in my hand, closed the door, pushed me out, closed the door. It was $500 cash in it. I paid the $325 to Kramer across the street in the Mir Yeshiva. And I had the $175 that I had later I had back. It was a big chizik. And the Rebbeinu Shalom used him, b'siyata shmaya. Another time, I was running for political office for an open seat. And Senator Schumer had a woman, secretary, was a judge's wife, Irma Kramer, Judge Kramer, Allah Shalom's wife. She also was going to run for that seat. So since she once did him a favor with getting him a certificate of occupancy for his shul when he moved from East Flatbush to Flatbush, he didn't want to get involved because he felt the car said to her, and I was his man. So I went to Emil and I said, you know, my wife, she's saying you finally have a chance maybe to make a very nice parnasa. And now Rabbi Miller wants to put you after all you've done. I said, Rebbe, what am I supposed to say? So he goes, no. He starts to laugh. He understood that I trapped him. 2 days later, he gave me a very beautiful, glowing letter. But Ritzenyu Avyasa, it didn't help. And thankfully, perhaps, I never became a politician or a political office holder, because even though I wanted to go with Kanoyas, but maybe I would become more tainted and more tamei from the rest of them, then I would have effectuated change. Who knows? So I'm sure it's all for the best. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have other mices with Rav Miller as well. But at the present time, I want to spend the last 10 minutes. Talking about some Divrei Torah, about how to make it through Rosh Hashanah. When I was young, I put out a video on this also, but I'm sure many people didn't see it. By the way, again, I want to give the number for our hotline where you can have previously archived programs. Okay? The number for the hotline is 641-715-3900. 641-795-715-3900. 715-3900. But you gotta put in the extension number 247656. If you want to see all my videos on my radio programs, all you have to do is get a link. You write down rabbi.zone. It's a link. It's not a search. It's a link. I'm saying words I don't fully understand. And that link takes you straight to my YouTube channel, which is Levin, Levin, and the number 11. Okay? And you can see my stuff. I also have another website, which has some parodies. It doesn't have a lot of hits yet. We haven't been pushing it. It's called Kratz Mich, 2 words, Kratz, Kratz Mich, M-I-C-H, Ho, Ho. It has some of my parodies. I have on YouTube, for those who have a heta, or they go to the internet, I have a song that I composed, a Rosh Hashanah song. It's called Rabbi Yehuda Levin's, or Rabbi Levin's Rosh Hashanah song, Rosh Hashanah message. The song is the Shanta B'Shem Roisi. It's in Hebrew and English for the beautiful introduction. It's Roy to send to Gentiles as well. And it's about thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You want to make it through Rosh Hashanah. When I was younger, until I was 40, 50 even, maybe into my 50s, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, always the scariest things. I always look forward to Pesach, even Shavuos, certainly Sukkot, Purim, Hanukkah. I couldn't get into the Yom Noraim. It was too scary for me. I wanted to get it over. Now I realize I'm older. Mikveh Yisrael Hashem. It's the biggest chesed He does for us. So I want to tell you. Rav Miller says, you want to know how to make it through Rosh Hashanah? The first thing is Rosh Hashanah at night. You should sit down before Ma'ariv and say, thank you, Hashem, for everything. Make a cheshbon of all the things He did for you last year, says Rav Miller. How could you come and ask Him for a good year if you didn't thank Him officially and sufficiently? Thank Hashem. Thank Hashem for everything you have. Make cheshbonos. That was big. Rav Miller was big on making cheshbonos. Thank God I could breathe properly. Thank God I could defecate. I go to the bathroom and I don't have stuffed intestines. Yes, yes. Thank Hashem for that. That's the bracha sheyatzar. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for your children. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the family, for the parents, for the money, for the food you eat. Okay? For the fact that you could locomote, you could walk, and thank, and thank, and thank, and thank. I've got family situations. I've got financial situations. I've got health situations. Thank you, Hashem. You're so good to me in so many areas. You're giving me this radio program. You're giving me the ability to send out my message to several thousand people through the WhatsApp and through the videos, and we're just getting started. We're only back and out of the crypt, namish, less than a month. The world's best kept secret. If you want to be my shutef, my rabbi, I'm asking you, spread the word about my WhatsApp to 5 people. Let them know about the videos. Let them know about where they can see the program. Let them know about the hotline. Please be a shutef. That's what you could do. You could sit on your hands and not go to vote for the primary day. It's a bigger mitzvah. And don't worry about what Chatzkel Ben is telling you, Ramosha. Ramosha wouldn't tell you to go and vote for lowlifes. I promise you, like I'm a yid. Lying, shakran, what they are. They're more concerned with their powers, and they read Zechai, they're doing it. They love it. They love to go to these parties with the governor, with the mayor, with all the lowlifes. Instead of being Birnbaum, Avram Birnbaum, the superior writer from the Yated, he once had a picture on his column, a picture of a manhole sewer. And he said, you have to go with these government officials, but you should feel sick afterwards, like you have to run to a mikveh and take a shower. Rabbi Birnbaum understood it. Do you think our sickle fans, they understand that our nechtige tug? It's going from bad to worse. Rabbi say we're killing our children. Everything is interlocked. If we show we don't care, we can vote for lowlifes. Hashem says your kids will be influenced by a flatbush mama. They'll go on the internet and they'll see the chazarai. God forbid, 87%. You hear? 87% of a certain study of people that wanted a transgender, they were influenced by others. And 75% of them, Littman said in the Brown study, they had certain disorders, psychological problems, neurological problems. But the more it's discussed in public, that was the upshot of what she said, Littman from Brown University, the more transgenders talking. And it's a Ramban in Nitzavim, in this week's Parsha, L'Yev Hashem Slechlo, thereabouts. People get jaded from the normal thrills of normal intimacies and normal taivas, and then they go far afield. And the more it's mufursim, and the more it's mufursim, and the more it's talked about in the internet and everything else, the more people will do it. The look for Mishkav Zocha, for transgender. That's what the Ramban says, not the baloney. You're born and you can't change and this and that. Could be that people are born with a certain predilection? Yes. Does that mean they have to act on it? No. This is Yehud 11 program. It's our last pre-Rosh Hashanah program. The next time we talk, it'll be Thursday night. It'll be after the election. But I will probably take my program Wednesday night, so I won't be able to tell you who won, who didn't. Remember, sit on your hands. Do not vote in any in any Democratic primary. You can't for these people. You can't. The Satmar Rebbe said, when you vote for somebody in the Knesset Haminim, anything that they do in the Knesset, because your guy is representing you, you have an achrayus. The ripple effect is terrible. Said the Kasher Rav, that's in America too. You think it's only in Knesset Haminim for these Jews? When you vote for Cuomo, you fool, because they tell you and you don't think for yourself. For a little gelt that you think you're getting, they throw us breadcrumbs. When I ran against Solars, you're going to turn him off. He gave more money than ever before because the natives came off the reservation. That's the only language they understand. Punkt Faket from the Chanfonim and the Aaron Sherrod, Rabbi Sherrod, Dr. Levracha. He was wrong. History proved him wrong. Rav Moshe didn't hold like that. Rav Yankov didn't hold like that. Rav Lezer Shach didn't hold like that. They all said you got to fight this like crazy. He only fought it a little with Solars or Shuma. He says in his book, it was only if a Reform rabbi said we're pro-gay, then he spoke out about that. Mishagas, stupidity. We've suffered from that. He was a great man, but he killed us in this area. When are they going to set the record straight? I once had a conversation with Rabbi Levin. Remember, much Torah, son-in-law of Rav Ephraim Mordechai Ginsburg, brother-in-law of Rav Lezer Ginsburg, Shlita. And I told him, you know, this is going on, that's going on. You know, the papers are saying that the Orthodox Jews don't care. We know. And he said, we know about you too. And then the conversation ended. He was very kind, very warm. I said it a few weeks ago. But he told us, Rav Ephraim Mordechai, we need people like this in Klal Yisrael. We need people like this in Klal Yisrael. What am I doing? Why am I doing this in my late stage of life? Why am I coming out of retirement? I'll tell you why. Who is going to be the next generation? You remember the Megam Medua, and they sang, who will be the Zaydis of our children? Who will tell them how and what to do? I'm now a Zaydi. I took the baton from Rav Miller, a handful of people. We took it. Who is going to do it? Let me ask you something. There's a shul, Rabbi Yaivo, in Wiensburg, a shul named after Avigdor Miller. Are there people going and fighting for the morality? I don't hear them speaking about it. There's Rabbi Eliyahu Brog, the big tzaddik. How often does he speak what Rav Miller spoke? The answer is not too often. Once in a while, Rabbi Simcha Bunim Cohen, who's a grandson through marriage, speaks about it once in a while. Call it covered. Who's carrying off Rav Miller? Now I'm 63. I should live in Marchiyam Mishanim. Who's going to take over? Who's going to do? There's a Rabbi Leida. Who's going to do? We need a few good people. The Marine said we need a few good people. It's not for everybody. It's not for the masses. The masses are chamorim. They're busy with pomegranate and sushi and Meshuggah music and this and that. We're looking for a few Erlicha Edler people. You want to make it through Rosh Hashanah? Become a holy hypocrite. Say that right now, Asher Husham, I'm like Yishmael who's crying. Yishmael who did such rishus afterwards, a para Adam. But at that moment, so you have big gates of horrors, you have big sultans. Say it like this. First of all, daven to God and say like this. It's a name the last Hashem should give us the koyach to be to clean away the crud, the garbage of the Yetzer Hara, and the Magen Avraham, the pureness of every Jew that never gets tainted, should come out. Daven like that. The second thing is, be a hypocrite. Say, Hashem, I'm going to try to control myself. A person does mishkav zacha, a person does premarital relations, a person is a porn head, etc., etc. Say, I'm going to try to postpone it. I'm going to try not to do it. Look at me now. I really would like to be cured of this, Shabbat Shalom. Say that a dozen times, 100 times during Rosh Hashanah. He'll judge you b'asher hu sham like Yishmael. If chas v'shalom you slip up, you slip up. Don't think about it. Don't let, I know I'm going to do it again, so what's the use? Don't think like that. Be a hypocrite now. And when you do an Aveira, don't do it in public. And don't tell your friends about it. You'll get credit also for Yelech L'Makam Acher, for disguising yourself and going out of the film community. Not like Flatbush Mama, she pushes the whole agenda. Fair. Rabbi Sai, this is the situation. If you do these things, you're a holy hypocrite. And you ask Hashem to give you, to help you clean away the crud, you can make it through. And there's another thing, Rabbim Surichim. If you are not an individual, but the Rabbim needs you, let's say you're a Rebbe, let's say you're Duat Sola, Rabbim needs you. Let's say you do Misaskim. What about those of us who don't? They could be Rabbim Surichim Lo. Guess what? If you spread around word about these hashkafas, the Rabbin needs you also, because who else is talking about this? Only a handful of people. So if you promote the program, you promote the videos, you contribute, you help, that's also Rabbin Sri'im. But do it for me. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it for my Rebbeim. Don't do it. But do something now with Rabbin Sri'im Lo. Then you're judged as a tzibur, not a yachid. And the tzibur always makes it through. We're coming to Rosh Hashanah. I'm begging you, speak to your Rabbanim. Speak to your mashpiyim. Ask them why they're not speaking out and giving a guidance and hadracha on the voting. If Feivel Cohen, he would speak out. From the time of Clinton, he would speak out in the shul. But he's from the Yechidei Segula. Go and ask the Moetzes Gedolei Torah. Go ask Josh Mailman. Ask him, what did Dolim say? I'm allowed to go and vote for Cornwall, Letitia James, when they support assisted suicide. And Harigas Ubarim, if they survive a botched abortion. And and transgendered bathrooms and all the other garbage they're supporting. Who says you're allowed to lift your hands to vote for them? For Geld of God? Really? Are we so desperate? If those same politicians said you're going to have to pay an extra $25 for the cleanup of the comments, we would take the $25 out of our pocket and pay. But we would never, ever vote for them. But now you'll vote for them. Mishkav Zacha, marriage, that doesn't bother you. Suicide, it doesn't bother you. It might be coming to a zaken, chas v'shalom, a zaydi or a babi near to you sooner than you think. My Rabbi says, this is Yehud 11. I want to wish each and every one of you an uplifting Yom Neroyim, Yemei Aslichas V'Rachman. We should use it. We should squeeze out the juices. Mikveh Yisrael Hashem. We should submerge ourselves. We should try to connect. Say, Hashem, I'm going to be a little bit better. We're going to try to step baby steps towards you. And B'yis Hashem should be zocher to a Shenaz, Ge'uli, Yeshuas, Refuas for the Skelner Reva, Rabbi Yisrael Avram ben Sarah Shena Rochel, and we should see Refuas and Yeshuas. Thank you, a good yarn, a good Tamid. And I think the next time I'll be saying, see you next year.